The following is a production of Learfield Sports.
Well, last weekend was a rough one for the Wisconsin Badgers. They fell to Minnesota 4-0 and 9-2, but there's a lot of season left. Alaska comes to town this weekend, and this weekend, Wisconsin will pay tribute to the 2006 National Championship team. I'm Brian Posick. Head coach Mike Eaves will join us next on the Badger Hockey Digest.
The Badger Hockey Digest is brought to you by Charter Communications.
Well, Mike, last weekend didn't go the way you wanted, but I tell you, Saturday in that second period, if you could bottle that and carry it over through the rest of the season, you're going to be in pretty good shape.
Well, that's the kind of hockey we've seen from our club more times than not, and Saturday was kind of a blimp on the screen. It was not what we've been used to. It was a tough night, and when you're around sports long enough that you have nights like that, and you certainly can't explain why. We've got all the reasons to play well. We got a great crowd, our biggest of the season, and we just struggled right from the opening shift. I think young Matty fought the puck. We didn't do things in front of him as well as we needed to. But that second period, we showed great, resolve and stuff that we've seen during the year, and could have pulled within a couple goals. I know that Jed Solway hit the post on an open net, and we missed a couple breakaways that we had. We could have very easily made that game 4-3 going into the third period, but that's sports, and that's athletics, and that's life, and it's unfortunate when it happens on a big stage like that because it's not what you want, it's not what the fans want, it's not what we wanted as a team. And now we have to kind of regroup ourselves and get ready for our next games coming.
Yeah, and at practice on Monday, right away, the boys are back at work. They laced them right up, and after a brief little talk from you, they had the energy right back, didn't they?
Well, it was one of those days where, in life we get to choose two things on a daily basis, our attitude and our effort. Mm-hmm. And there seemed to be a little bit of a cloud hanging over us yesterday, which is pretty natural when you get spanked like that. And we had a meeting downstairs, and we got on the ice, and there wasn't a lot of energy. And we talked about the quote that was on the sheet for the day, and we need to choose what we're going to do out here. Let's not waste each other's time. And it picked up after that, and we went right back to one-on-one battles and doing some things that are going to help us. And I think it was a very effective day by the end of the day.
Yeah, a couple of players stood out for you against the Gophers this weekend. One of which is Cameron Hughes. He seems to me to be captain material. He's mature for a 19-year-old young man who showed up here when he was 18 and made some moves on the ice against a very skilled Gopher team that I'm sure caught them by surprise too. He was really good.
Well, there's a reason he was drafted by the Boston Bruins, and you saw part of this weekend. He actually turned a young man inside out, created a great scoring chance, but more than that, to what you talked about, his maturity level for a young man, you have to give his mom and dad a lot of credit. He knows what's important. He knows what he wants. He knows how it needs to be done, and he's willing to take those steps to get it done. So he's one of the bright spots this past week, and you're absolutely right with that.
The Badgers are back home to play Alaska this weekend. On Saturday, the University of Wisconsin will salute the 2006 National Championship team. More about that coming up in just a moment.
Game night. That magical weekly gathering where lands are conquered, and you get trapped in the dungeon that is your bedroom. But you've got blazing fast Spectrum internet, so Kevin and his friends have enough bandwidth to play together, and you have enough left over to find a new apartment. Get 60 megabits of dragon-slaying speed with Spectrum internet. Where will it take you?
This is Andrew Seelsdorf. He plays hockey. This is leukemia. It's bad business. This is Andrew's oncology team. They love Andrew. They don't like leukemia. And thanks to them, Andrew is now cancer-free. Booyah. They are the world-renowned physicians, scientists, and nurses at the American Family Children's Hospital, pioneers in pediatric cancer care. UW Health. Remarkable.
This is we're flying right now. We're flying for the next month and a half, 2 months, and you know what? This has been a dream come true to play here, play at Madison, play in front of our home crowd. This has just been awesome.
I think that's one of the toughest things to do is just people expecting you to do things and making it to Green Bay and making it to Milwaukee, but we stuck to it. We knew what our goals were, and we had some intermediate goals that we didn't meet, so we were upset, but I mean, we knew what our ultimate goal was, and is to come here and win the championship.
Hard to believe it's been 10 years since Wisconsin beat Boston College 2-1 at the Bradley Center to win the program's 6th national championship. That was back in 2006, and what a run, what a season that was, Mike. You start 18-2-2, come back from Colorado Springs, your goaltender and All-American Brian Elliott goes down with an injury. You throw in freshman Shane Conley. You play back-to-back series against Denver and Minnesota, two very good teams, and then you get a win at Duluth, you get a win at Michigan Tech. Conley backstops you to a victory outdoors at Lambeau Field against Ohio State, and then Brian comes back, and although there were a couple of bumps in the road still there, you really turned it on at the end of the year.
Well, it's interesting. Andy Baggett asked a question yesterday's press conference about that team, what stood out, and I think it was that point in Mankato that Brian came back, and we kind of expected Brian to lead the charge, and he was going to take care of everything. Everything was going to be rosy again, and not so much. And we got beat handily twice by them. And I think it was an eye-opening moment. It was one of those turning points, TSN turning point, as they talk about. And our guys had to take a good hard look in the mirror. We had several meetings that night. Right after the game, we had a captain's meeting, we had a team meeting. The captains came back with the coaching staff. The coaching staff went in and talked to the team again, and it was like they understood then that it had to be everybody who grabbed the rope and pulled in the right direction, the same direction. And from that point on, history dictates we only lost one of our last 11 games and went on to the national championship that you can see behind us here in the mural.
Yeah, the Midwest Regional in Green Bay at the Rest Center. You beat Bemidji State 4-0. Joe Pavelski had a hat trick. And then the regional final against Cornell, David McKee was in goal for the Big Red and stopped 59 shots. He faced 60. Jack Skilly scores in triple overtime from Josh Engel. Brian Elliott with a 40-save shutout. And you know, we all knew that what that would lead to. You got to play at home in Green Bay, basically. You got to go to Milwaukee, play at home at the Frozen Four, and I think everybody was anticipating, okay, this is a national championship season.
When you've been around athletics for a long time, and you and I are both not as young as we used to be, but one of the things that when you talk about people about winning as such, you can have a great team, and you can have good players, great coaches, you can have a great game plan, but there's an X factor that's out of your control. And when I look back on that year, to your point, Brian, we played the outdoor game, the regional game. We really had home court advantage. Yeah. And the way that we won the game, the puck hits the post with less than 2 seconds to go, and you know we end up winning that game. Sometimes it's just your time, and that's one thing that athletics has kind of revealed to myself over the many years that I've been involved at, both as a player and an athlete, and that's sometimes hard to accept. Like, no, we're in charge. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you don't have that final say, and sometimes it's just your turn. Yeah,
Brian Elliott to this day says he had the angle on that final shot against BC, and I think of some of the players on that team. 25 players were on that roster, Mike. 15 are still playing. 15.
Well, it's interesting. We only have 2 guys that can come back for this weekend because they're not in the business of hockey. We've got guys playing. We've got guys coaching. Andy Brand is coaching. So A.J. Degenhardt is coaching. So it speaks a lot to that team. Like, they were very passionate about the game of hockey, and they're still doing it for a living right now.
Yeah, Shane Conley, Josh Engel still coaching as well, and a couple of all-stars actually this weekend from that team. Jake Dowell in the American Hockey League with the Rockford Ice Hogs, and Joe Pavelski,
Ryan McDonough,
the San Jose Sharks, and then Ryan McDonough, the New York Rangers. So you've got 3 right. Well, McDonough didn't play on the 06 team.
That's right, but he's the captain. He's on the
right.
Yeah.
Pavelski had 100 points in 2 years. Only the second Badger ever to do that. Yeah. That was remarkable in and of its own right.
Yeah, he's a special player, and it's fun that he comes back here in the summer times and he's around our player. I mean, there's a reason he is as good as he has a natural skill set, but he's out here at 7 o'clock in the morning by himself working on his skills and keeping them razor sharp. All
right, you've got Alaska this weekend. The Nanooks come into town. They're sub 500, but they have a Hobie Baker candidate and Tyler Morley. They're a pretty good defensive team from what I understand.
They play hard. I mean, we watch video and they come after you, and so it's almost like you're not quite sure where they're going to be because they get there at different times. So it'll be a challenge for us. I'm looking forward to playing against this team.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Sure, that's Badgers coach Mike Eaves. Wisconsin and Alaska, Friday and Saturday night. Both games start at 7 o'clock. Saturday's game you can watch on the Wisconsin channel. You can always listen on the radio, too, on the Badgers Sports Network. For Mike Eaves, I'm Brian Posick. Thanks for watching the Badger Hockey Digest.